Patrick Beverley is a douche. Everyone likes a player who makes up for lack of talent through grit and hard work, but he's just way beyond that point. Bev's behavior has gone from funny and at times annoying to plain arrogant and disrespectful. He's one of those players who gets into a fight with anybody, former teammates, his own teammates, superstars, coaches, you name it. This year's ball throw at Indiana's fan after getting eliminated was pure embarrassment. And the question is, how much longer will he go on like this? Hello again, basketball fans, and welcome back to Hoop Vision. Today, we're diving into Patrick Beverley's history of being a complete jerk and break down some of the nastiest things he's done in the league. So sit back, grab your popcorn, and enjoy some basketball lowlights. Speaking of the most recent incident, we all remember Beverley throwing the ball at a Pacers fan after it was obvious that Milwaukee was eliminated from the playoffs. With this move, he embarrassed not only himself, but also the entire organization, which probably does not even think of re-signing him in the summer. It was actually strange when they made the trade for Beverley given his history of conflict with Lillard, which we'll get into later in the video. Yes, they realized that the departure of Drew Holiday created a hole in the defense, but filling it with a player like Beverley can only bring negative consequences. First, although he may seem like a good teammate, Pat is a big problem for the locker room. And secondly, his hustle reputation overshadows the fact that he is a player with more than mediocre basketball skills. If the Bucks are smart at all, Patrick Beverley will have to look for another franchise to play for in October. Speaking of Milwaukee and their loss to Indiana, you'd think Beverley couldn't go any lower than what's already been shown. However, he managed to disappoint and anger even those fans who showed sympathy towards his behavior. During a post-game interview, Beverley refused to give a statement to a certain reporter because she wasn't subscribed to his podcast. Imagine the audacity. This should not be done by even anyone from the top 10 players in the NBA ever. In fact, none of the players for that matter, let alone a journeyman like Pat Beverley. In an era where everyone has a podcast anyway, he managed to make his even less relevant than it was before. Speaking of podcasts, one that Beverley probably won't be a guest on is the Mind the Game podcast, hosted by JJ Redick and LeBron James. The reason is more than obvious, but for those who don't know, Beverley has an incredible history with LeBron. In the past, he has tried all methods to stop him, including unsportsmanlike ones. During LeBron's career, many criticized him for flopping, complaining to the referees and other things. But for a moment, put yourself in his situation. You are a globally famous basketball player who is the face of your franchise, the NBA league, and the brand you advertise. If you get injured, it's not just you who suffers the consequences, but your finances, family, sponsors, coach, and teammates. And then someone like Patrick Beverley comes and tries a WWE move on you to try to throw you off your game and present himself as a tough guy in the public eyes. Although they wore the Lakers jersey together for one season, it is certain that Beverley is most certainly not on the list of LeBron's favorite teammates. On the other hand, the player who is on the list of LeBron's favorite teammates is Russell Westbrook, but also on the blacklist of Patrick Beverley. Just take a look at this situation. Game 2, Oklahoma versus Houston. Beverley runs into Westbrook in his signature style, seemingly eager to steal the ball and lead a fast break. However, watch how the sequence ends. As soon as he makes contact with Russell, Beverley stops as if he had no intention of continuing, runs away from the scene, leaving Westbrook to hobble around with an injured leg. Take a look at this other situation as well. Westbrook attacks his defender, loses control of the dribble, Beverley goes for a steal but ends up jumping into the knees of his opponent. Coincidence? Maybe once. Beverley has proven on several occasions that he is no stranger to moves that could potentially end his opponent's career. Perhaps the best example of this is Chris Paul. Beverley fouled him hard countless times in his career, but some were really way out of line. Just look at this foul. Chris Paul is in his own half court, passing the ball and looking to get the offense going as soon as possible to take advantage of his team's quick transition. If the opponent wants to stop such an attack, all he has to do is to enter the player's path with his hand and block his trajectory with a light movement. Beverley does the exact opposite. Throws an elbow as if a UFC match is on and risks injuring Paul, who was already past his prime in Phoenix. Also, pushing him from the back during a timeout was a real indicator of his weak character. He was no better against Dennis Smith Jr., whom he treated to another elbow from his UFC catalog, and then grabbed him by the neck as if he was going to bury his head in a toilet. On that occasion, Dennis lost one tooth, which he picked up in a gentlemanly manner and continued with the game despite what happened. Luckily for Patrick, Smith Jr. was not hot-tempered and approached the situation as an accident, when in fact it was anything but that. Just imagine if Beverley could do the same to Jokic. Garnett, Artest, or any of the real NBA gangsters. He'd end up flying out of the arena. When it comes to real NBA gangsters, Lillard was always seen as a chill guy who handled arguments very maturely, but everyone knew that he was the real deal when it came to conflicts. Beverley loved teasing Lillard throughout his career, but there was never really a real rivalry, because for a rivalry to exist, the players have to be at or near the same level. Dame was leagues above Beverley, so Pat had to be content with showing a mocking Dame time gesture, waving after the play-in game between the Clippers and Blazers, and other petty provocations that made people aware of the gap between the two. What all the players that Patrick Beverley bullied have in common is that they were better than him. Maybe that was the real reason motivating him to be rude to them, or he just didn't need a reason. Maybe he only did it because those were his true colors. Just watch the next clip. Austin Reeves doesn't get the call. Phoenix then takes a timeout. Davis is there to help a teammate. Ayton taunts a little, but nothing that would cause any big trouble among the players. And suddenly, here comes Patrick Beverley. In his own style, he shoves Ayton from behind. The guy ends up on the floor as a crowd gathers around Reeves, who is still lying there on the court. Beverley, a true hero, looks around as he is surrounded by coaches and staff and walks backwards throwing tough words. At the center of the conflict are Davis, Westbrook, and Reeves, but not Patrick, who caused it all. The following clip speaks about his desire to really protect his teammates. Wearing a Philadelphia jersey, Beverley plays great defense on Reeves and forces a turnover. Legit, nothing wrong with that. Great defense, Pat. High-five your teammates and engage the audience. Instead, Beverley chest bumps the teammate he so passionately wanted to protect the season before, as if they never knew each other. If you've ever played basketball, you know that you don't do that to people you've played with. So probably that push of Ayton was personal frustration and a cry for attention rather than protecting his teammate. Attention might be the biggest motive for Patrick's behavior, given that nothing else differentiates him from all the other NBA players who come in and out of the league. If it weren't for his antics, he would stop being discussed a long time ago. The worst thing is that he convinced himself that he is a good defender, so several of his good defensive players are used as an argument that he can lock someone down. However, Luka Doncic convinced him otherwise. Every time Luka touched the ball against him, Beverley would take it as a trigger to do something totally stupid. In each of their 1v1 duels, he wanted to fight Luka as if they were equals, while committing a foul every second of playing defense on him. Given Luka's background, he is not one of those people who keeps his mouth shut, so there were all kinds of back and forth going on between them. Elbows, trash talk, and everything else that happens when two players who want to prove a point collide. The problem, however, was that only one of them had enough skills to back it up. That's it for today, dear friends. We hope you've enjoyed this video. Let us know in the comments below, what do you think of Patrick Beverley, and where do you rate his career in terms of skill, defense, and overall impact? Thank you for watching and growing this channel. Make sure you don't miss out on more NBA stories by hitting that subscribe button. See you in the next one.